Bet you weren't expecting me. Well, desperate times call for desperate measures, and we have a situation on our hands. So I will summon all the powers of darkness. Gates of heck, come hither!
Right, you summoned me?
Right, we've got a situation here.
Right, I'll see what I can do.
And Gadiantan, come hither!
Yes, I've been expecting this. What seems to be the matter?
We've got a problem we gotta talk about. Cut that happy music!
Right, so what seems to be the problem, Leviathan?
Oh, the promised Messiah, Jesus, is now 30 years old. He's been baptized.
You don't say.
Haven't you been watching Earth? He's about to begin his ministry, full of power. And if he succeeds at that, then...
We are all burnt toast.
Well, we can't let that happen.
No, we must put a stop to him right now.
Look at that! What? It's Jesus. He's going into the wilderness to be with the Lord.
And he's been fasting for 40 days. That means he's weak, he's tired. We can tempt him to sin, and all will be lost for them.
Right.
So, what say ye? Let's get
thrown
in.
Remember, this is your time to explore your feelings. So, how is tempting Jesus? Not good. Tell me about it. Well, I said, if thou be the Son of God, command these stones to be made bread. Prove your power, or maybe he's just hungry, I don't know. And how did Jesus respond? He quoted scripture. He said, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." Like, what? How do I respond to that? And how did that make you feel? I feel like the power of the dark side is just not what it used to be. I miss the days of Baal.
And what was your experience?
Well, I thought maybe I could just tempt Jesus to do something that would prove to everyone that he's the Son of God, right? He'd go for it.
And what did you tempt him to do?
Well, to go jump off the temple and the angels would catch him. Yeah, sounds kind of stupid right now, but sounded good in the moment.
And how did he respond?
Yeah, he quoted scripture at me. He said, "Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God," and what am I supposed to do with that? Yeah, I feel useless. I got nothing.
And how did tempting Jesus work for you? Take all the time you need.
Well, I'll tell you how it went. It went terrible! I tried tempting him with all the kingdoms and glory of the world if he would just worship me.
Doesn't he already have all those things?
Don't bother me with details.
And how did he respond?
He said to me, "Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve."
And how did that make you feel?
Well, it felt like like a sucker punch right to the nose.
Kind of like
Oh, well, what am I paying you for?
just trying to help.
Well, it's not helping. Grrr.
Anger management issues.
All right, friends, here's your official welcome to Drawn In. So, I let those guys hijack the beginning of my episode a little bit because I know how it ends, and they don't win. So, what did you learn from this episode of Jesus being tempted by Satan? Did you talk about it? Can I share a few things that I learned? Whew. Number 1, Satan especially tries to tempt us when we are trying to make good choices. Just like how Jesus was fasting and went into the wilderness to be with God, and that's when the temptations came, Satan will try to stop us when we're on the right path. Friends, being tempted is not a sin. And he may try to tempt us, but here's number 2, as Joseph Smith once said, all beings who have bodies have power over those who have not. The devil has no power over us, only as we permit him. Isn't that cool? Satan is powerless unless we start to consider his temptations as an option. Number 3, there is power in the words of Scripture. Notice how Jesus kept quoting Old Testament scriptures to Satan? So let's memorize our favorite verses. Let's keep them fresh in our minds, especially the promises found in Scripture. And number 4, Satan will always try again to tempt you. He is never done. In the Luke account of this story, it says that when the devil had ended all the temptations, he departed from him, from Jesus, for a season. And he's gonna come back. He always does, so count on it. It's a lifelong battle. And one more thing I learned. Think of how empowered Jesus must feel knowing that he resisted Satan's temptations. Anytime any one of us doesn't give in to the devil's tempting power, we are strengthened spiritually. It's like in weightlifting, you know, the resistance, the opposition, that's what makes the muscles stronger. And Jesus never gave in to Satan. No wonder he was so strong spiritually. The same principle applies to you and me. All right, shall we keep going with the story? All right. Jesus goes back to his hometown of Nazareth, and on the Sabbath day, he goes into the synagogue. During the meeting, he goes up to the front, opens up the book of Isaiah, reads about the prophecies of the coming Messiah, and then for the first time ever, publicly drops the bombshell. I am this Messiah. What? People are shocked. They're outraged. They think it's blasphemy. You're just Joseph's son. You can't. And they actually try to kill Jesus. But he escapes, of course. And then Jesus does several miraculous healings that you can read about in this week's readings, but you can also read about them in Matthew 8, which is several weeks from now, and I'm gonna wait till then to talk about those. Okay, now that Jesus has officially declared who he is as the Messiah, and he's been doing these miracles and people are taking notice, he's now going to assemble the team. Oh yeah. Jesus isn't going to do this work by himself. He needs disciples and he needs apostles. And he's got his eye on this guy. Do you remember who this is from 2 weeks ago? Peter, the fisherman, who he calls Cephas, the rock. So Peter lives up by the Sea of Galilee, and Jesus is going to pay him a visit. Jesus finds Peter and James and John and his brother Andrew and others on the shore washing their nets. He then asks Peter if he would be so kind as to take him out into his boat a little offshore so that Jesus can teach the people while sitting in the boat. That way the people won't crowd him so much, he can have some room and be able to reach a bigger audience. So Peter does just that. And he sat down and taught the people out of the ship. Now, when Jesus had finished teaching the people, he said unto Simon, "Launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a draught," meaning to catch some fish. And Simon answering said unto him, "Master, we have toiled all the night and have taken nothing. Nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down the net." Peter senses something special about Jesus. So, Peter and friends go back out into the Sea of Galilee and try one more time.
All right, here it goes.
And after just a short while, would you look at that? We have a massive load of fish down there. The whole ship is tipping over. Well, then bring them in, Peter. I'll try, but I don't have any arms for some reason. All right, here it goes. Oh, look at that. Oh, I've never enclosed such a great multitude of fishes. Oh! Peter struggles to bring in the net. He calls over reinforcements. Everyone is straining. Nets are breaking. Boats are filling and sinking. This is the greatest draught of fishies ever! Now, you'd think Simon Peter would be overjoyed, right? But look at verse 8. When Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, "Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord." For he was astonished, and all that were with him, at the draught of the fishes which they had taken. Simon Peter now knows that Jesus is the Messiah, and he feels totally unworthy to be in his presence. Have you ever felt like that? I love Peter's genuine honesty. He doesn't put on pretenses. What you see is what you get with Peter. But instead of leaving, Jesus lovingly looks at Peter and says, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." In other words, Peter, I've seen who you really are, and I want you on my team. All right, you guys, put yourself in Peter's sandals. Jesus is asking you to give up everything. Okay, you have a fishing business, you have a family to provide for, you know nothing about preaching the gospel and what he's asking you to do. It's a total leap of faith. And yet Peter knows deep down that he's the Messiah. He's the real deal. This is the one. Man, what must be going through Peter's head at this moment? It's almost like we need a song. Right here, right now, he puts the invite out. He seems to stare me down. What do I tell him? There's fish galore all over the boat floor. Now standing on the shore, it's my decision. Do I trade the temporal for something spiritual? That sure sounds crazy, but maybe I need crazy. I should play it safe and all, stick with the traditional, or I can give it all and see. Don't you wanna follow him? You can feel the spirit whispering, cause he's got what you need. He says to me, fear not, Simon, I'll make you a fisher of men. Cause you can fish all these fish, or you can follow him. Stay in this boat, or you'll heed his invitation. Simon, you and your fellow brethren, I'll make you all fishers of men. Okay, Simon, can you hear what you're thinking? You know deep down inside this just can't happen. He's pure, you're not,
and you would surely flop. So I even entertained this crazy notion. Now it is time for you to get back to what you do. Catching those fishies, all those little fishies, riding over waves and swells. Anyone can surely tell that it's the only life for you. Don't you know that it's okay not to devote your life all the way? So you don't need to heed the invitation he extends to make you a fisher of men. So go and depart from me, for I'm a sinful man. Find someone else, I will only mess up your plans. Oh Lord, maybe you are mistaken. I can't be a fisher of men. Now is this really how you want to spend your life? Nothing but fishing with no meaning in sight. But if you go follow him, well then your life ain't your own. Hardship and struggle out of your comfort zone. But you would finally live a little, finally give a little. Just let him give you the freedom to dream, and it'll wake you up, give your life meaning. Take your faith and start it growing. Now that's a life that seems worth knowing. Simon Peter, what are you to do? Well, does this story sound familiar? Now I ask you, do you give him all or just a part? Only you choose. A part of you feels you'd be missing all the action, as if the world's got it all, just go and have fun. But you can see through all that when you go with the divine. He offers peace and joy and light when your wills both align. He smiles and waits, holds out the bait you take. Now I wanna heed the call, I can feel need to give him all, cause he's got what I need. He says to me, fear not, Simon, I'll make you a fisher of men. Straightway I'll leave all my nets, and I will follow him. Forsaking all, I will heed his invitation. Oh man, the adventure's only just begun. He'll make me his own fisherman. I will leave all my nets, his own fisherman. There will be no regret, his own fisherman. I'll heed his invitation, his own fisherman. The ride is only begun. A fisher of men.
Power verse.
Matthew 4, verse 20. And they straightway left their nets and followed him. And Luke tells us that they forsook or gave up all. So, Simon Peter and his brother Andrew, James and his brother John, they all leave their fishing nets, okay, their lifestyle, everything they've known, to become Jesus' full-time followers and later become his apostles. These guys are awesome. Okay, what does this all have to do with you and me? I mean, fishing and nets and fishers of men, and well, the song you just heard gave a lot of clues. I hope you're paying attention to the words, but let's talk more specifically about today. And what did that whole first segment about Satan's temptations, what does that have to do with any of this?
That was then. Now it's my turn.
On another occasion, Jesus once told Peter, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not, and when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. Okay, so Jesus, you're telling Simon that Satan is striving to destroy you, so you need to strengthen other people? Well, but shouldn't you be strengthening yourself? Like, huh? Ooh, there is such a powerful principle being taught here, you guys. And I feel like I really first caught the vision of this principle when I was about 16 years old. So let me draw a 16-year-old me and show you what I'm talking about. Satan desires to have me. He desires to have you. He wants all of us. And when we focus our lives on our nets, we are giving him power. Remember Joseph Smith's quote? So what are our nets? Well, we could liken them to any desire, interest, thing in our lives, whether it's sinful or not, that we put before God. That could be a net. Net's a fitting symbol because nets trap things, they ensnare things. But when we leave our nets and focus on strengthening our brethren or strengthening others, focus on them, okay, not yourself, and put God and his work of saving souls first, well, then Satan's power is greatly reduced and you become powerful in God's hand. My friends, I know this principle to be true. Okay, I know it from my own experience over and over. And in a moment, you're going to get to write this principle in your own words at the top of your scriptures so you don't forget it. Now, when I was 16 years old, I also received my patriarchal blessing. And for you littles out there that don't know what that is, you can ask your parents in a moment. And in this blessing, the patriarch told me that I would be tempted many times to do that which was not right. And I have felt that throughout my life. But he gave me the key to overcoming these temptations. And part of it was that if I would dedicate my life to serving my Father in Heaven's children and helping them grow, develop, and prosper, he said, that's the key. And it is truer than true. All right, my friends, let's be fishers of men. Let's throw away those nets. Let's do anything we can to put him first in our lives and watch the difference it makes. Till next time, keep getting drawn in to your scriptures. Bye-bye.